We have to talk about Rangers. The situation is still unclear as to so many players' futures, and the club really will have to start making decisions. They're heading for a huge summer in which Michael Beale is going to refresh the squad and bring in his own ideas, but there's a number of key names who still have no idea whether they're playing at Ibrox or not next season. And it's now starting to get a bit tetchy, and the club really need to start helping people understand whether they're coming or they're going. There's so many areas of the pitch Rangers are looking to strengthen that actually you could almost put a new player in every position. The goalkeeper position to start with is one where the club are already actively seeking targets. Alan McGregor is expected to retire at the end of the year. And then they've got the likes of John McLaughlin and Robbie McCrory playing bit parts there too. Are they to stay? Are they to go? Will they be offered the number one position? Well, that's dependent on the target who comes in, right? Angus Gunn has been heavily linked to the club, and we do know the club that like him and have looked at him, but that's a difficult deal to do. Angus Gunn is on championship wages, has now added an international cap to his badges as well, and also is on a long-term contract at Norwich. It's not a cheap deal, and whether Rangers think he is the man or not, that's going to cost a big outlay to bring him in. At left back, Red van Yilmaz is loved by Michael Beale. He's someone that he rates really highly and wants to bring into the fold. We expect he'll push, in Michael Beale's mind anyway, our ideas is that he'll push to be the number one choice in that position. And there is interest in Borna Barisic. There's been long-held interest in Borna Barisic from around Europe, and could Rangers cash in on him to help fund other areas of the pitch? And if they do, who is then the backup in competition to Red van Yilmaz? At centre-back, the club seem to have finally nailed down a centre-back partnership in Goldson and Davis, but then you've got Hollander, who will leave the club for free. He's been unfortunately injured for most of his time there at the football club. John Souttar came in, a player that had been heavily injury prone, and it was a signing that was criticised, and unfortunately for him has had injuries too, but he's back in hopes that he's back to full fitness. Young Leon King, despite praise from Jurgen Klopp in Champions League appearances, has been completely frozen out of the side and will likely go out on loan in the summer to English Championship or some sort of level like that. So that could be another position that Rangers have to strengthen too, so that they've got enough competition in there for the likes of Goldson and Davis, who seem to have nailed down that centre-back partnership. James Tavernier's not going anywhere. The Rangers captain will remain the right back, and there hasn't been much competition for his place. Adam Devine's in there, the youngster, but he's certainly not ousting the Englishman anytime soon. But it's when you get into the middle of the park that things start to get really messy and uncertain. You start with Stephen Davis, for example. We expect he'll be offered a new deal, despite a horrendous injury, which many thought would sadly see the end of his career. The player has said he wants to keep playing, and we expect him to be offered some sort of role, which includes coaching in some aspect as well. Then you've got Scott Arfield, who's entering the twilight years of his career, but as an impact player at Rangers. It wouldn't be surprising if you hear that Scott Arfield has got a one-year deal. We do think it's something that the club are taking into consideration, just to keep him round for his energy, enthusiasm, and what he brings to the team. Then there's Ryan Jack, who, although has some critics at times, is a key player for Rangers. When he plays, Rangers are better. I think that's been clear. You've seen it in the semi-final against Celtic. When he came on with Raskin and Cantwell, the midfield was assuredly so much better. And when he's played with Raskin, the new signing, who, by the way, I think is a superb signing for Rangers, you can see the value that he brings and what he has to offer. But he's still in the dark as to whether he is getting a new deal or not. That discussion is still to happen. And that's a problem for Rangers, because people like Ryan Jack are wanted. Ryan Jack's wanted by clubs in the Bundesliga and English Championship clubs looking at him too. And he would easily get a move, despite the injury issues that he's had in the past. This season, actually, it's not been as bad as people are making out. And he has been available a lot of the time. But Rangers need to let people like him know if they have a future at the club. Otherwise, they're losing the spine of their team, and they're losing key players, and will have to replace them with enough quality to catch a Celtic side who are on for a treble, and an Ange Postecoglou who's firing Celtic forward with incredible recruitment. It's major pressure on Ross Wilson. He has to get this right. He's been unfortunate in a lot of circumstances, I think you have to say. For example, Tom Lawrence, who'd never had an injury in his career, but came to Rangers and got a season ender, and looks like a tremendous signing. Although Rangers physio in the medical department, that could be a whole video in itself. Then you've got Malik Tillman, who many people would like to see the club sign, but I don't think it's quite clear-cut that they're going to do so, despite Michael Beale's comments, of which he makes a lot in the press sometimes. He's a very kind of outspoken manager, which is great in some aspects. They haven't decided yet fully whether they're going to pay that about £4.8 million to bring him in. They've got Cantwell there, they've got Lawrence coming back, and I think many Rangers fans maybe would argue that Tillman's disappeared in big moments. And he's a quality young player, he's still a young man who's got to improve and will get better, you can see that. But is he the man to spend £4.8 million on that's going to get Rangers back to challenging Celtic? That's a big decision for the club to make, and would be again a big outlay for Rangers. We're not talking about a club with hundreds of millions of pounds to spend here. They do have to buy smart, and buying smart's important, but also selling smart is important too. That's probably where their rival Celtic have the edge on at the moment. Celtic are obviously taking advantage of the market in Asia, in the J-League, where Ange Postecoglou knows the players, and although they're not selling them for massive fees, they're making continuous profits. And Rangers have a guy who they bought for £7 million in Ryan Kent, who's about to walk out the door for free in summer. That, whether you like it or not, is bad business. Rangers' business model is selling players, and Ryan Kent costs £7 million and is about to leave for free. The narrative that Rangers have not offered Ryan Kent a new deal is just not true. That they have, clearly, and we know that they have offered Ryan Kent a new deal. However, that deal at the moment isn't matching up to the ones on offer, and it's understandable. That's not a dig at Rangers at all. It's understandable because those are from the likes of Burnley, who are going to be able to offer Premier League money, and then teams in and around the relegation zone are really interested in Ryan Kent in the Premier League. They are really interested. So who stays up could also have a huge burden on, or huge gauge, on where he goes. And there was a key statement made by Michael Beale towards Ryan Kent, which wasn't picked up on massively, in which he said in a post-match interview, if Ryan Kent wants to stay at Rangers, he will, which basically suggests the offer's on the table, and if he wants to accept it, then fine. And there'll be many fans who think, yeah, that's good. If you want to stay, stay, and if you don't, leave, because we don't need players at the club who are not going to pull on the jersey and give everything. But I think it's fair to say that Ryan Kent is a key player for Rangers. He offers a lot to the team. The ball before the assist, the pass before the assist that makes the goal, the run that makes the space for someone else. Ryan Kent's effect on a Rangers team is massive, especially in the free role under new boss Michael Beale. And Beale will hope he stays. He absolutely will hope he stays, because Ryan Kent is one of the best players in Scotland, and Rangers will be losing him at this moment for nothing. And that's where you have to look at the selling time being right. They've done it with Bassey, sold him for a massive fee where he was at the peak and the perfect opportunity to sell him, and that was fantastic business. They got the full release clause for Aribo when that came in as well, and both of them on current form, Rangers would say they did business at the right time. Ryan Kent was signed for £7 million, has managed to come to the end of his contract, and probably should have been sold before now. And you might say that Rangers couldn't because there was no offers. Clubs can move players on. Clubs can let other teams know when a player's available, or let their agents know so they can start putting the work in. Ryan Kent likes Rangers. He loves it in Glasgow, and he's not the same type of player as, or motivated by the same type of things as a lot of other players, we understand. But you have to say that as a business, Rangers are a selling club. And if they have a player like Ryan Kent walking out for free, that is not good and does not look good on the board or Ross Wilson. Then you've got the right-hand side as well, where Rabbi Matondo came in for £3 million and is unfortunate again with injuries, but like I said, the Rangers physio department could be a whole other video. And on that right-hand side, we still expect the club to go for Morgan Whittaker from Swansea. They love him. They wanted him badly in January. There were 2 bids rejected, and it didn't happen for them. Swansea didn't bring him back from his loan not to play him. They really like him too. And Rangers have been crying out for a right wing option for a long time. A right winger who's going to nail that position down and actually take control and take hold of it. Fashion Sakala's got a right to say, you don't need a right winger, because he's been in absolutely exceptional form since Michael Beale came in. However, we do believe Rangers will go for someone else in that position too. So right now around the club, there's so many players walking around, don't know if they're coming or going, first choice, second choice, fighting for their position, and that's quite a weird place to be in. People need to have some sort of certainty as to their future. And then there's the striker position, and that's a whole other ballgame. Hi, thanks so much for watching, and tomorrow we will be releasing the striker search for Rangers with some exclusive info as well on a couple of their targets, and we'll be talking about Alfredo Morelos. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Cheerio!